Hey, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
It always catches us by surprise.
It does catch us by surprise. I don't know why it does.
And look who our surprise is. It's Troy.
It's Troy.
Best dressed balls. How are you, Troy?
I am wonderful.
Awesome.
We are so glad to finally get you on the show.
Yeah. I feel like, I have those people that it just clicks, and then there's something I'm always like, I can't this weekend, I can't that. And so I felt like you guys fell under that. So I'm happy this is finally coming about.
I am too.
So it wasn't us then?
No, not at all. It's bad luck.
Thank
And
God.
I have like horrible time management, so I should have more time in my life, but like I just don't manage time well.
Yeah, well, you know what? When you have a full-time job, 2 full-time jobs, I should say, it's hard.
Yeah.
I tell people it's 3, right? Like I tell them I have like the studio, I have the snakes, and I have the rats, right? It's all kind of like it all takes a lot of time.
It does. It really does. Yeah, 3 full-time jobs because the rats alone are a full-time job.
Lisa takes pretty much all the care of that. So I really can't say I do much.
Okay. Before we get in things, I want to go ahead and say hi to folks in the chat. We got Blakers. We got Wheels Hella Heat, Hot Pocket. We got Stan. We got Old Man Pies and Clowns. We got, let me see, who do we have? I don't want to miss anybody.
I know.
We got Holly, and Holly is backstage.
Holly is our admin, and she does all of our good stuff.
And she is a
all
sponsor.
Of our intros, outros, and sponsorships.
Yeah. So again, like I said last week, if you guys are looking for an intro, outro, any thumbnails, reach out to Holly. Let's not abuse her though, if she makes amazing shit. So let's go ahead and pay her for what she produces. Look, we got Troy in the comments. Hey, Troy.
Cara Shay, hey, sweetheart. Jacob Ledbetter, Civil Servants, hey, good to see you.
Yeah.
Ken from LMK, Missy Ann. Hey, sweetheart.
We got Ashley with TER, Tatum's Exotic.
That's my girl.
We got Eric. Eric, I'm not paying your what bills is it? His therapy bills.
You have to pay for his therapy bills. You've caused this.
No, he tuned into our show. He's the cause of it. If he didn't tune in,
could have said no.
Right.
Angelina, good to see you, girl.
Elias.
There's my nephew.
Hey, nephew.
My nephew.
And I think that's it for right now. So, Troy, tell us a little bit about yourself. And I want to get to the backstory of how you named your company. So don't go into that yet. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. It's always interesting. This is always an interesting question because I never know what to say. I'm a 45-year-old Mid-American living in Iowa all my life, married, have a child. He's 22, almost 22. Born and raised, boring Iowa. I feel like my life is really boring, so I don't know what to say. That's it. Just a boring guy in Iowa.
Well, we know you pretty well. We've hung out with you several times. We've seen you at all the major events. You're not a boring dude.
Not at all. Not at all.
I feel like at those events I get to either play a part really well, or that's actually who I am. Because back here, I feel like my life is pretty lame. So
now, you do drive an old farm truck, though.
I do, which I just recently traded for a new farm truck.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
We love that.
Yeah, Troy made fun of us. We were up in Iowa. We went to a local show up there.
A little bit.
Yeah.
We had so much fun with him, though.
They rolled up in a BMW, just throwing money out the windows. And I'm, poor Troy in my red F-150 hauling hay and cows and sheep and yeah, I just want to live their lifestyle for a day.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Because I'm in prison. I've been released for a few hours and then I got to go back.
And I keep talking to him. I'm like, I want chickens. My girls Ashley and Courtney have chickens. I want chickens, and he won't let me have chickens.
So my city, it's not a big city. There's like 27,000 people or something. But a couple years ago, they passed a law where you could have chickens in town. And like the day it came out, like I just kind of like looked at Lisa, like I want chickens, and no, we don't have. She won't let me have chickens either.
I keep trying.
Yeah.
Courtney and Ashley both have chickens, and I want chickens so bad.
And she wants a pig. What did you guys name the pig again?
Jean-Claude Van Ham.
Oh, I love it. That's like the best name ever. And then someday when you actually turn it into ham, it'd be even funnier.
Right? I want to get one of those big Traegers so I can roast Jean-Claude Van Ham right on it. That's
great. I used to load pigs when I was in high school. They're like the smartest, dumbest animal on the planet.
Right. And if you need to get rid of evidence, come on.
Post-it note.
Yeah, if you want to get rid of a body, you drop it at a pig farm and take their shoes because they'll eat anything but rubber.
Post-it note.
Yeah.
I saw D-Rod come in. I saw Eric come in and Jerome.
I'm sorry, I'm a little behind.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Me and Jerome and Jacob and a couple other guys have a little group, and they're here just to make they're just here to make fun of me.
Well,
they're probably hoping that Juicy comes out just to rib you a little bit. Hey, Don.
Well, I'll tell you what, Juicy's not going to come out. You're safe tonight. But you know what? She has rubbed off on me. So some of the shit I say might be from Juicy's mouth.
That's fair enough.
As long as we get this seal of approval that is not going to ruin your business reputation being on our show.
I don't think you guys can ruin anything worse than I've already done. So,
hey, Sammy.
Sammy came in.
I have to shout out my shirt because my girlfriend Brooks from Crime Lines and Lies, my crime podcasts that I watch during the day.
You're rubbing your boobs awfully a lot right there.
I thought the same thing.
Were you thinking the same thing?
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything though.
She made me this shirt, and I love this shirt, and I got it, and I had to show it off today.
So if people can't read it, it says your passion needs a vibrator, and it's a picture of a whole bunch of vibrators.
So
yeah,
I had to wear it today.
Yeah. So I'm waiting for her to go to one of the shows in it, and we'll see what happens.
I am. I'm gonna. I'm gonna wear it. He got one too. She made him one too. So.
Yeah. So.
Nice. Look at that.
Troy's fucking trying to come through the screen to look at it.
I'm gonna get in trouble with this show tonight.
So you breed ball pythons.
I do.
And you're pretty good at it, and you're big at it, and you hit these NARBCs. I mean, you're talking the Super Bowl of reptile shows. You've in these shows. How long have you been in the business?
I've been vending as, and we can get into that story, I guess, but basically about 10 years. I was before that. We had a full line pet store and stuff we started it about 25 years ago, got out about 21 or 22 years ago. So we had it for 3-4 years. We were going to Tinley's and things back in that day. We were driving to Texas to a show as well. And, but starting vending ourselves was about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, and these big shows, you group up with a couple other people. You guys kind of share an end cap and pretty much halfway down each aisle. Yeah. Me and Joe and John from JSA, and Sheena, great friends, very close friends. And then JD, the same thing from JD Constriction. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of our core group, as how it started. And then
I went to Arlington on my own, and then I brought JD, and then we brought JSA, and so then it's just so much easier to vend together, and it's fun. You get to be with your buddies, the whole time. We do an Airbnb together. It's just a lot of fun to be able to vend with your friends, and I think on the flip side is we don't necessarily all carry the same things, especially JD, right? He's all Xanthic, and so when people come up to the table and they're like, blah blah blah, I want this and I don't have it. I mean, I have two guys I can immediately turn to, right? And that goes for the whole show too. I mean, there's a lot of guys that even though they're down an aisle or two, you kind of know what they have, and you kind of wish we could all vend together. I almost wish there was like two really big like ball python aisles or something, and they didn't have anything in the middle. We could all just hang out. That would be a lot of fun. But show vendors probably aren't going to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we actually last weekend we vended our first show. Yesterday. I'm sorry.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Columbia, Missouri. We did a Show Me Snake show. Is it called Show Me Snakes?
Yeah.
Okay.
How'd it go?
We had a blast. We sold 5 snakes.
Yeah, we sold 5.
I see Jerome. Jerome, I'll get to that story in a minute. You just hold your horses. Good Lordy.
Yeah. Troy is full of stories. If you don't know Troy, he's full of stories. And they're all interesting.
They are.
These guys are putting me grief. I feel like it different. So like in California, I vend. That's what they're giving me shit about. I vend with Jerome and Jacob and Antoine and Andrew, Josh and Kendall also come out. And so we have to be honest, like it's so much, there's 6, 7, 8 of us all the time. And so it makes for a really good weekend. It's somewhat saddening sometimes because you drive all the way out to California and you just want to get back as quick as you can. And you wish you had more time, so I wish those guys were closer.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, you got friends and family, every corners of the country.
Yeah. You really do that. And I've said that on just about every podcast I've done it's the people, right? You meet these fun people and you really do. You find a group of people in every state that, you could turn to. Jacob.
We will get to that story.
We'll get to that one, Jacob.
I know nothing about midget hookers, but I have a feeling Jacob does. We could pull him in here.
And you know what? And if he doesn't want to come in, I guarantee I probably have a story of midget hookers. I might make it up. It might sound good.
Nice.
We can tell a story.
Yeah. I can make up a story.
Yeah. Have you ever seen them on a stripper pole?
I have not.
Yeah, they only get about 3 feet high.
I love it. That's great.
Depends on if they got heels on or not.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's talk about how did you come up with your company name? Yeah.
So I used to be. I'm horrible at naming things. So our name was really very simple. It was TNS Geckos, and then it was TNS Geckos and Balls. And we ran with that name for probably, we're 2023, so probably 5 years or something, right around that, about half the time we've been vending. And I was in California, and I had brought DAG and JSA along on that trip. And so they came out and vended with me, and on the way back, literally like JD turns to me, I'm in the back seat, and he was like, hey, you got to change your name. I think you should do this. And his reasoning was I have all these like fun, fancy jackets that I wore to photography conventions. Mm-hmm. And JD and I have been friends for quite some time. So like he sees that on Facebook and whatever else. And so he's like, hey, you gotta bring the jackets and stuff into the ball python world. Like, I think you should be Best Dressed Balls. And I was like, huh, all right. And so like, this is like all within like 5 minutes. I jump on Instagram and I'm like Best Dressed Balls, which was open. So I immediately took it. Mm-hmm. And then really just kind of rolled with it. Like it happened right then and there. I changed our name to everything. I reached out to a friend, Brandon, from Asylum Exotics. I think you guys probably you may know Brandon. Yeah, so he made helped make my logo and whatnot, and from there it just kind of took on its deal. Like that's kind of, I mean, it was really a quick, short 5-minute story between Dag and I, and here I am.
Now, love the story, but now we got to go prior. Why did you have those jackets?
Yeah. So, growing up, like my dad was the vice president of a college, and my dad is a really awesome guy, but he's business. Like it's a, blue jacket, black jacket, red tie, like real plain. And I absolutely hate that. I think it's just the most boringest thing on the planet. And I ended up being on a photography convention that not so much required you to wear, dress up, but it was asked that you came to these board meetings, not in a t-shirt or something. And so my buddy who got me on the board was like, "Hey man, you got to wear a jacket." And I'm like, "No." And I would show up before that. I would show up to these photography conventions in like shorts and like a ripped up t-shirt. I just didn't care. I wasn't there to like win people over by what I was wearing. And so he talks me into it, and I'm like, well, if that's the case, I'm coming in, a jacket that fits, my personality. And so I went to a Macy's and walked in, and I think I walked out with like either 4 or 6 jackets or something. And so then I wore one each day to the meeting, right? So like everybody else that's at this meeting wears like the same jacket and same, I mean, they just look like boring, stiff people. And so it kind of became a funny thing. And then the very next convention, then as part of this board, they expect you to, represent yourself well. So I was like, yeah, I'll just keep it going. So those conventions are like 3, 4, 5 days long. So I wasn't going to wear the same jacket all week. So I would buy 4 or 5 jackets, and then the next one, 4 or 5 jackets. And then through the year, the state has an affiliate as well. And so like when I would go to the state, I would wear a different jacket. So it kind of grew from that. Yeah, that's why I have 60 some jackets or something.
Love it. Love it.
Do I have more jackets or balls? I definitely have more balls than jackets.
I know he's got 2 because I've touched them.
Yeah.
the pies that I held the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So going in what you produce, you create a lot of pies. Is that your main recessive?
Can I answer it unfortunately?
Absolutely. It's your show.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. Pied was always such a big part of me and Lisa's love for the snakes.
Hi, Bailey.
We never really thought we'd in our life be able to afford a ball or a pied ball, ball python or anything pied related, because at the time they were so expensive. When Lisa and I first saw them, they were $40,000 or whatever to get in. And so at that time, I never understood the snake market. We had the full pet store, and we sold ball pythons and stuff. But really, our main income from the pet store was saltwater fish, and so we really kind of poured more into that. Even like the small animal side of things, we were like going to bird shows and stuff, and we'd go to a reptile show, and it was really just to try to find lizards and snakes and stuff to bring back to the show or back to the store and have for sale. So in our mind, they were always going to be that, and then there was a guy here in Iowa that was kind of a leading guy at the time, and I remember he had albino piebalds, and again, they're 40, 50 grand, and so it's almost like it reinforced that way of thinking for Lisa and I that we were just never going to have these. And when we got back in, 10 years ago, and pieds at that point are somewhat dime a dozen, it's what pulled us in, even though it's not the animals that actually pulled us in. We got in with albino G stripes. That's actually what pulled me back into the industry. Was I bought a 1.2 breeding pair of albino G stripes. But the very next thing I bought was a pied. And so I have entirely too many pied animals. And I could spend probably a good hour talking just about pieds and where I think that industry side of things is going to go or what it's not going to do. But I don't think we need that. We don't need to bore everybody with that.
No, we're good. and I'm going to kind of switch gears here a little bit. You're talking about you have a lot of pieds. We're starting to see some pretty big breeders kind of downsizing their collection, getting out of the game completely. In foreseeable future, do you see yourself downsizing?
I think I'm trying that now. I really just want to get rid of, the fluff, right? Like I would like to streamline the collection more. And then I think even the pied side of things, like I probably need to downsize that side of things as well. So overall collection wise, like anything that's not really tied to a recessive, I literally am down to just a couple of codom animals. And I think those will be gone, shortly. And then collection wise, like, yeah, I think you have to. It doesn't matter about where we are as an economy or as a snake industry. I think just redoing your collection in one way or another, if you want to call it downsizing or whatever, I think you have to just stay relevant and to keep your collection somewhat fresh. I did that a few years ago, and I think I'm just at that point now. So it's more maybe of an overhaul, but I do want to downsize the amount of animals I have as well. Like, unless we get rid of our studio. If we were to get rid of our studio, then I would probably bring on more animals. So I think it depends on what you have, what your whole life is, right? So we have the studio, we have a full rat room. We supply rats to one guy and then, a couple of little people. And then, the snakes. And so it takes a lot of balance to try to figure it out. If I got rid of something that created more time, then I would think differently, but definitely going to downsize somewhat.
Okay. So right now, what's your how many breeder females are you running right now?
Absolute ready to breed females right now. I think there's probably 130.
Wow.
And then I think I have probably 40 girls that are damn near on the edge.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then on average, so have you been maintaining a certain number of clutches every year?
So the last 2 years, I bred around 100 animals, and I did 62 clutches, I think, for 2022, and I think I did 60 clutches for 2021. So relatively, yes. This year right now, I'm sitting on, I think, clutch 30 right now, and I have probably 15 that are, nesting or will be laying for sure. And then I think I'll have a late side of a season as well. So I'm guessing I'm probably going to end up with 60, somewhere between 50 and 60 clutches again this year.
Okay. So our season was late. Last year at this time, we were done. I mean, eggs were pipping, we were cutting, they were shedding, we were done. We just got our first clutch. When did Orloff lay?
Last month.
We just got our first clutch in May.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just we have 8 clutches in the incubator right now.
In the incubator right now.
We're probably.
We have 4 more to go.
Yeah, we're sitting right at 12 clutches this year.
All right. And how many females could you guys breed, or did you breed?
We 14, could have bred
probably 15 or well,
this year,
16,
yeah.
Probably 16 this year.
16 this year.
Yeah, I think if you pair 16 animals, you end up with 12 clutches. You're doing something right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've only had 2 reabsorbed.
Yeah,
only 2 reabsorbed on us. The other ones just never went.
Yeah.
All right.
But they're of size. I mean, they're of age. They just never. We either missed,
or the boys weren't ready.
Or the boys weren't ready. Yeah, because there were certain boys that we wanted to go to certain females.
Yeah.
We just wanted to just throw anything in.
Yeah, I definitely, I did that. I paired a couple younger males this year, and I'm probably paying for it a little bit. Like I paired them. Not only did they were young males, but they were first-time moms too. And so had like a damn near slug out on one, and then I pulled a clutch yesterday, and I think 4 good eggs and 4 slugs. And
oh, wow.
again, I think some of that can be contributed to a male, and whether or not their sperm is weak or whatever. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that contribute to that, but certainly same thing, right? Like, you don't want to just throw any random. And to be honest, I think that's somewhat the last couple of years you could be, because things were selling so well that, like, you could just say, screw it, I'm going to throw this male to whatever. And you could probably get a decent clutch of, again, just whatever. Now it's like, I think you have to be right now you have to be very calculated. So I definitely haven't, paired just random pairings. I've been trying to be very calculated about it, and therefore wanting to wait for certain males, that were close to size. So I get that.
Well, and I think you hit it on the nail, head of the nail earlier, talking about the recessives. I mean, when you're talking, people are producing, triple and quadruple hits. I mean, where's this game going?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just insane.
Right.
Yeah, there's definitely a fine balance through the industry. I mean, there's people that just don't, give a shit about recessives, and so they're, they make beautiful codom animals, and they, do just as many shows as I do, and probably just as successful or better, right? I think it comes down to I like the recessives because I think there's a little bit more of a guarantee of their market. Mm-hmm. I think obviously codoms play a big part within that, but if you were just breeding just codoms, I think that's scarier for me, right? Like, there's not a lot of guarantee there because it's just so much easier to make. And so, where we're going with quads and things like that, I mean, that the nice thing then is the door is still wide open, right? Like, there's so many of us that don't even have double visuals, right? And there's people obviously that have, triple visuals and quads and things like that. So there's such a large gap between double recessives and, trying to make these, 3 and quads and things like that. So I think there's so much room for so many people to, really invest in that area. I don't think people will get burned as much, on some projects like you can in a codom. But
right. And kind of like when we started, I mean, we wanted to, we started with hatchlings.
Yeah.
And then within the first year, we bought, I think, 2 breeder females, just single gene, a butter and a
phantom.
Two breeder females. And that's what we tested with. That's what we were like, okay, do we want to do this?
Yeah.
Sure.
And now, so everything we bought has been from our paychecks. I mean, we haven't made it to the level where the company is starting to buy things for us yet.
Right on.
So we're chasing the hets. So we're working a lot of hets, creating double hets, putting 2 visuals together to make the double hets for a couple of 3 years down the road. So we're chasing the double, triple hits off of our other, visuals. Like, we have a ultramale het sunset. We paired him to our pied last year. We wanted to make the double het with the posset sunset.
You said monarch wrong, but that's okay.
Right. We ended up losing the whole clutch. But this year, we got double het, DG clown, a female at 1.1, pastel double het DG clown. She's starting to build right now. Plus, we picked up some double het stuff from you, DG clown stuff in leopard. So we want to go ahead and, bring that into it. And I tell you what, he's eating like a champ now.
Nice. Yeah. How's that real little guy doing that you guys bought at the KC show?
Oh, he's eating fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
He's my little boy. He's my boy.
Yeah.
Nice. Good. That's awesome.
So if he doesn't go for us next year, it'll be the following year.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's doing awesome now.
He's doing really good.
Yeah. That's way awesome. And I think, like what you're talking about, I think if you don't want to bend right now, and you don't need to necessarily make money from, this industry this minute, if you look long term, like if you're building double hets and triple hets and quad hets, when those things come to term at 2 and 3 years, like you're going to be in such a great spot, right? I think people try to rush this a little bit. And I certainly don't think you need to, right? I think you can take your time. And I think right now, if people build that, we always say build an army. I think if people start really thinking like, where do I want to be in 2 and 3 years, and try to put a little thought into that future too. I know it's hard to guess what's going to be, the next big thing, but to me, the snake market's not too different than, trying to follow a stock market, which can be crazy, but there's enough information out there to tell you, what's great, what's not, what people are liking, what people aren't liking. And I think if you take a little bit of that and really look at the future 2 and 3 years, like you can set yourself up, really, really well. And it's not, like right now, like I'm excited about some things I have in the incubator, but I'm already done thinking about this year. Like I'm trying to think about next year and the year after already. Because it's, what do I need? What do I have coming? What's going to be, breedable in the holdback rack? Like I'm thinking about next year and the year after, because this year to me, even though those animals are still in the incubator, it's somewhat done for me that they're not going to affect a lot. I need to think about the following year already.
So with you vended next to JD.
Yeah.
Do you run Exantic in your collection?
I have one Exanthic. I have a TSK Exanthic yellow belly girl that I got from John a few years ago. She finally bred this year. Otherwise, no, I have a pied that's at TSK that I have not done anything with. But that would be it.
So like you said, when people come up to your booth and they're looking for Exantic stuff, I mean, you point them over to John's.
Yeah, absolutely. Even like Morph Market and stuff, if people just, come and ask me like, oh, do you have any, lightning pieds or Exanthic pieds coming out this year? Like I immediately just grab JD's, link or whatever. I'm like, hey, check this guy out. Or I'll send them just the, link to one of his. And same at a show, I'll walk them over. Hey, do you have any Exanthic stuff? And typically like the nice thing is you, as a friend, like you could kind of build up, their reputation a little bit too, if they're not, if these people don't know who they are already. So a lot of times, like I'll try to tell them about John and like his history and, what he's done with Exanthics and the way he's line bred them and just like how much work he's doing. Cause I want them to, as they come to the table, I want them to know that he's not just your, guy here to show selling black and white snakes. Like he's the deal. Right. And so, and there's a lot of people I think within the industry that have kind of a key, thing that they're doing. And if I'm not doing that, or I don't have any piece of it, I'm going to do whatever they can to, pump the next guy. So, yeah.
I think it's awesome how the three of you guys have it set up.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah. I shouldn't say this. I was going to say it's not as fun at Tenley. At Tenley, it's JSA and Justin, Shelby, JD, and then I'm right across. And we've tried to get the whole aisle just for ourselves, but there's a couple people there that were, kind of seated in even before us. And so we haven't been able to take their booths, and we probably wouldn't, but we wanted to all be in one line. And so it's always kind of funny to me because it's like you have this whole line of ball pythons from JSA, Justin, Shelby, and JD. And then I always like, when they get down to JD, I'm always like, hey, I'm over here. If you guys want to, anybody wants to look at my stuff. Like, yeah, like I always feel like I'm just like this lone totem pole guy at the bottom. But it works well, and I do enjoy it. It's just nice to be able to bounce stuff off of each other and kind of, build each other up. And same thing again in California, with those guys. Same thing in Arlington when it's just, me and JD and John. Like, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I do want to tell a little funny story. So last year we went to the St. Louis show. That was the first time we went to the St. Louis show. JD kind of got screwed on that deal, didn't he?
Well, JD likes to wait till the last moment sometimes.
JD,
and so it's pretty funny. He called me and he's like, I called Bob and said, hey, what do you have left? And he was like, I've got you, but I have like 3 more booths. And so I text JD, hey, he's got 3 booths, but he told me like, you need to call him now. JD's like, yep, I'll take care of it. So like a week goes by and I'm, hey, did you did you talk to Bob? Nope. Or whatever. No, I didn't, or whatever he said. And then a few days later, he calls me and he's like, hey, I'm going to be at St. Louis, but, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to hear this, and like, it was, me and Redline are going to be out in the hallway. And I'm like, you're going to be in the hallway with your animals? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, how's that going to work? But John, the nice thing about John, he seriously is the kind of guy that can make the best situation out of anything. He's always very positive about things. Like, I would have bitched and complained and I would have been mad and I would have not had a good time. But John was like, everybody that came into the show got to see my animals first. They were in line. People came and talked to me. I made a lot of relationship. Like, he took that situation and like made the absolute best of it. And I mean, I shake my head at it still, like you was out in the hallway. Now, to tell you the truth, Brian and Bob may actually put people in that hallway to expand the show.
Really?
They're trying to figure out if they can. And then, people would have to figure out, I think, what they do with their animals. You're pretty secure in that room overnight, having a guard and stuff like that.
Right.
But I don't know if they would bring them in. If you would maybe buddy up with somebody and like put them behind my booth or something. But they did talk about it. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I know at one point it was, somewhat discussed. So I think they even maybe trialed and errored, with John a little bit to see how it would go.
Yeah.
Pretty funny though.
I just thought it was so funny.
Crazy, but I'm like him though. I'm a people person. I'd be out there talking to everybody. I'd be like, hey.
Yeah, he loved it.
You're standing here waiting to get in.
Yeah. His only complaint was it was cold, right? So then you worry about the animals, which I think he threw heat on them and stuff. But that was his only complaint, is that, when you open the door that many times, or there's now a line out the door and people are just leaving the door open, like it got a little chilly. And I think that bothered him. But like you said, you tackle that bridge. But
yeah. Okay. So talking about the St. Louis show, what is your show schedule?
Yeah, so I think if you go from January to December, in January I do Pomona, California, the Reptile Super Show. February I do Arlington. March I'm in Tinley, and then this April I went to Denver and did a Reptilian Nation show.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that was April. I didn't do anything in May. I won't do anything in June, and then July I'll do Schaumburg.
Okay.
August I'll be at Pomona for the Reptile Super Show again. August, let's see, September then would be Arlington. October will be Tinley, and November would be St. Louis.
Okay. So
I think I got that all out.
So now you did do a show here in Kansas City.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, like, I'll try to throw some shows in. So like Kansas City, like I went down to the Des Moines show yesterday. I got to talk to Jason for a minute, but like the Kansas City show is sold out for July. Those smaller shows I rarely put on my schedule. I really only hit them if I know for sure. Like if I go look and show date is XX whatever, and I'm free that weekend and it doesn't mess up anything else, then I'll jump in. But typically those are just kind of, I throw them in when I can throw them in.
Okay. So those aren't scheduled shows for you.
No,
they just pop up and
yeah.
Okay.
This Reptilian Nation show, I think, will probably stay on my schedule. And then they do an October show as well. It's the week after Tinley. I think I have that right. Or is it the weekend before Tinley? The problem, I don't like to do shows back to back just because the way I do things with the animals. So I don't feed the animals for 10 days before a show.
Okay.
That way they pee and shit and shed, and I only have maybe a couple messes at the show.
Right.
Some people, feed right up to a show and just deal with the mess, which is fine. I don't think either way is good or bad. The problem being is the way I do it is then if I were to do a show right afterwards, I definitely have to feed them when they, I'd have to put them away. Which we do kind of a treatment system with the rack so that, hopefully you're not bringing mites or something from the show. And then, getting them back in, water and getting them fed and then getting them right back for a show the following weekend is tough. I've done it. I don't like to do it. And so that's my problem right now. Like I would like to do his Reptilian Nation show in October. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I'm certainly, on the fence. So.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, so Jacob just said, Troy gave me the first opportunity to vend, and I'll always be in debt to him. And it's awesome that you leaned on Troy for this. Troy helped you vend. And I want to give a little shout out to Melinda from Cuddle Time Critters. She vends a lot of the Show Me Snake shows around here. And we talked to her. She's only like 5 minutes down the road from us. And I said, Melinda, I want to start vending. Angie and I said, we want to start vending. And she said, you know what? She said, I usually get 2 tables. Come vend with me. You take one of the tables, I'll take the other table. And yesterday was the first time we were able to take her up on the offer. And we ended up getting a separate table. She ended up having 2 tables. And then we had 1 table right next to her.
We bought our own table.
Okay.
And it was the best experience, but I think you need someone.
You do. You absolutely do. And like, I feel like I had that opportunity. I used to do like a small show in Des Moines, Iowa that Jimmy Stepplug put on before Cold Blooded was around. And so, JSA and John and those guys, like as we kind of met through those shows, like they definitely, helped. I was on my own. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was, pretty good friends with Jimmy at the time. And then he had a guy that worked for him, Mike Rowe, like those guys, Brock Wagner, like those guys I could call and they kind of gave me some do this, do that.
Mm-hmm.
But where I felt like I really got, the most benefit was when somebody kind of brought me in, a little bit under their wing. And so, I love being able to help out. I don't really think of any of us as competition. I think you're stronger in numbers. And so, when I went out to the Pomona Reptile Show for the first time, I went out with some guys from Texas. Again, they brought me along. After that, they kind of had maybe a bit of a breakup or something. And so I was like, well, I guess I'll keep going out. I went out on my own once. And while that was fine, it just wasn't the same experience. And so like to really, really have to kind of thank somewhat of like Instagram and other people that kind of brought me to people. So like Jacob and Andrew from Redwood and Jerome from No Limit, Antoine from High Desert,
Yep.
All of us, we really have a good time together. And so again, it's just strength in numbers and being able to vend with somebody. And for somebody like Jacob or yourselves, I think it's really nice that you can have somebody that's experienced. Like, what do I need? What kind of lights should I get? Should I do a tablecloth? How do you pack your displays? Like, I think a lot of that is stuff that maybe you just don't know who to ask. And that information probably isn't just out there like all this other information is on like YouTube and things. And so I think it's really nice to have somebody to go to. And, if I ever have that room and can make it happen, I certainly would open that door for, pretty well anybody. As long as you don't have like really shitty animals, that would suck. And when I say shitty animals, I don't mean like morph and stuff. Like if you're like sick and crappy animals, I don't want you at my table.
Yeah. And you hit a little bit on the lights.
Yeah.
And I love your setup. I mean, absolutely love your setup. It's clean. It's professional. It just, everything blends. And we talked to you about on the lighting, and we were on a little budget, and we didn't go with your suggestion. We went with the 5, and it worked.
Just because we budget.
And it worked great for us.
I think those lights are great. I certainly won't, throw rocks at, those lights. I know that's what Josh and those guys and Bob and those guys use as well. When I was looking for lighting, I wish I would have a picture of like my first lights. Like they were from Amazon. I wish I'd have known about the ones that you guys have, because at least they work well. They look nice. I was pretty rinkety dinkety. And so, JSA came down at the right time, and we made it work. I was definitely on a budget too. And so I think we did like a cash and trade at the time maybe. And, those lights have been a lifesaver for me. They were stolen from me in California.
Really?
Yeah, somebody ripped open the back of my truck, and I just have just the topper thing, like the canvas topper, and they cut it. And the only thing they could really get out was like my lights and a couple other things. But those lights are super important, right? Like that's a big part of the the display. And so, I called JSA and they overnighted me a new pair. And so those lights are great. They work really well. They are streamlined. They're small. You can either buy a case of theirs to put in, or they actually fit like in your ARS cases if you trim the little things that are in the little inserts that are in there. And they're just a great light. But they are, I mean, I get, they're somewhat, I don't want to say they're expensive. There's probably lights that are more expensive out there, but they work really well. I think the ones that you guys are using work really well as well. So.
Go ahead, Miss Donahue. I've been taking over this conversation.
You're doing fantastic.
You're sitting there looking pretty.
I've run the live for about a year. I've run 2 lives for about a year.
So your next show again, when is it?
So right now I'll be doing Schaumburg at the end of July.
Okay. So at the end of July, we're doing Miss Schaumburg. We'll actually be down. It will be at the Oklahoma City show.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
So
I might fly out and just hang out at the Anaheim Reptile Super Show in July, but I wouldn't be vending. So
Jacob
I'll vend there. Yeah.
Jacob said, "Welcome to California." Troy.
Yeah, and those guys. I mean, man, I told them, I put it on Instagram. I got a ton of support. It sucked for 5 minutes. It really sucked. I was pretty beat down. I don't handle things well. My anxiety and depression and things like that are triggered very easily for me, and so I can be a bit of a Debbie Downer. And those guys have picked me up, more times than I would even want to count. But even just last night, I was having a moment, and Jacob and Andrew are right there to build me up. But it sucked, waking up. It's kind of funny. I woke up, we were at a Hyatt. It was in a decent area. I thought it was like a brand new mall and stuff or something was right there. Jacob would know more. And I looked out the window, and so like those canvas toppers, like if it rains, like sometimes they can get a little puddle. And so it had rained that night. So I was like, oh, there's a little puddle. But then I did like that double take where I like opened up the shade again, and I'm like, wait, I think I could see into the back of my truck. And like I look at Lisa and I'm like, hey, our truck got broken into. And like I'm immediately like, fuck it, let's go home. And I go out there, and so like I said, for a few minutes, man, it was a kick in the nuts. But like Jacob and then they all said funny shit like that to me too, like, welcome to California.
Yeah. Holly said she would have hurt someone.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to, right? Like you want to. And
California, I tell you what, I bet you Antoine's got a nice set of lights now.
Yeah, right? He probably took them. I drove around like looking for homeless people, thinking like I was going to see them like carrying my case or something. The 2 cops that came and talked to us, it was 2 ladies. That's all they do. Is they all day long for their shift, they take theft reports. And I was like, all day? She was like, 8 hours a day? And she was like, yeah, that's all we do.
That's all they do.
That's all they do. And so she did say, like, we'll come to some accident reports and things like that too, but this is mostly our thing is theft. And so she said, more than likely it's a homeless person, and more than likely they're at a pawn shop and there's, 900 of them within X amount of miles. And so she's like, you're welcome to go look. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to put that much effort into it. But that day, like driving around, I was like, always like looking around, like hoping I was going to see some guy just carrying my case of lights. But
or which tent is lit up the most.
Yeah, we kept saying that, like if somebody's tent is lit up, like because those lights are bright, like I'm like I'll definitely know where they're at.
Yeah. Real quick, we had a lot more people jump in.
We did. We had like Jinbug came in, Chris from. Is it Flexin' and Finessin'? Is that still the name?
Yep. Where's he at? Sexin' and Flexin', Chris, which he will be on Holly's show this week, I believe.
Is that this week? Okay.
I believe he's on Holly's show. We have Bailey with Bailey's Royal Beauties.
Who we'll be seeing this weekend.
Yep. So we'll be in Shreveport, Louisiana this weekend. It's a 2-day show down there. Bailey's, they are based out of Louisiana, so they've told us they're to come up and show some support. We can't wait to see them.
We love
them.
Love them.
Yep. We have Greg and TJ from Reptiles that came in.
Greg's gonna get the handcuffs. I tell you that much.
Yeah, Greg. So Greg's
that sounds sexual.
Well, we're not gonna go there. I only had 2 beers, Troy. But,
all right.
I mean,
I've had the moonshine, but we're
yeah. Greg likes it rough.
Greg's.
Oof.
We had Gerald stop in. We got Tammy in. I saw Jeremy earlier. I don't have my glasses on. Can you read?
It's David.
David with
It's
Synergy Morphs
Okay.
popped in.
Antoine's in here,
Antoine's
he's in here making fun of me.
Yeah,
It's Antoine.
we love Antoine.
Randy's in.
Randy from Pope County's in.
We're gonna go down and see Randy one of these days.
Yeah.
Jeremy from Bods was in.
Jeremy Bods, Jeremy with Warfels Morphs. We're to be out in.
We're gonna be out there next month to see Jeremy.
Yeah. So
do you guys go over to Josh's 4th of July deal?
Yep. We're to be out there for
We're
it.
gonna.
We're driving out for it.
All right. Yeah, I plan on being there. So
oh, you do?
Yeah, I got some friends
No,
from
we're not going
Iowa
to
that I think I've got
Josh's.
it worked out. So yeah.
Okay.
We're not going to Josh's.
No,
we're going to Jeremy's this year.
Out
all
in
right.
Pennsylvania. Yep.
We're going out to Pennsylvania this year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's
We're
see.
not going to Josh and Jackie's.
Yeah. Let's see. There's Bods.
I missed you guys. Your
The crawfish boil.
your crawfish. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and talk about that a little bit while I scroll through these comments?
Let me just tell you that turned into quite the thing. But next year you got to come.
Because if you don't come, I'm going to be very disappointed because we do have a special gift for you.
All right. I like it. All right.
Yeah. So that's it. If you were thinking about skipping it, now you can't fucking skip it.
Yeah.
You can't
I feel like
skip it.
I feel like I should put it on the calendar right now.
April the 13th. It's gonna
Handy
be April-
dandy. My other screen here, handy dandy calendars are up right now. I'm gonna pop over to April 13th.
April the 13th. There's going to be a special guest showing up at that one.
Now, what if I don't like crawfish? Am I still
That's
invited?
Okay. That's okay. There's still different foods.
We're doing
So-
hamburgers and hot dogs too.
And there'll be all kinds of sides.
And we
stuff.
know you like hamburgers because you took us to Five Guys.
Five Guys is my go-to when I can't find a place to eat, man. I'll eat that burger every day, twice a day if I can.
There's your chef right there.
Ooh, I hope there's more under that apron. Like, I didn't mean that in a weird way. Like, I hope you're wearing shorts or something.
Do we have the other picture
Oh,
the
boy.
other apron? There's the other apron.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we actually went down to
Godfathers.
Godfather's.
Jim and Mindy. We
2
went to
weekends
their
ago?
crab boil.
Yeah, 2 weekends ago, and they had that apron in their kitchen, and of course it was not the squash or the eggplant; it was the real thing. And I was like, "Oh, I got to wear this thing."
Nice. That's
So
good
there is
stuff.
video out there of me dry humping the table.
There's a lot of.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
So-
Antoine.
Yeah. Ashley and I drank a lot of strawberry moonshine that night.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah, Troy and Five Guys.
yeah, he loves the
It's a-
Five Guys.
It's the party. Yep.
It was,
Yeah.
it was quite the thing.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, it's
surprised.
funny, Troy was in the middle
Yes. Yeah.
in a swivel chair going around.
Yep. That's where they put me.
Yeah. Yeah. You got carpal tunnel syndrome now?
A little bit. I want to know where our buddy Luke is.
I don't know where
I
Luke
don't know
is.
where Luke is. Kyle is in.
He's been working a lot. I know he pops in and out, when he's on break. So
All right.
yeah. We have another one now. So last night, it was when we got home from the show. you know, you still got to put your animals up. I mean, unload the vehicle, everything. And before the show, I knew one of our girls was to lay. I saw the egg down at the vent. I knew she was going. So we get to the show, and I'm like, okay, Neve, who is our het pied or pos het pied, we knew she was going. Well, we had two other girls that were due or past due. And Angie said,
I said they're all three going to lay while we're gone.
And so last night when we got home, after unpacking everything, we had to pull 3 clutches.
3 clutches.
So that's our banana phantom pos het pied, and she was paired to a leopard het clown this year. She did throw us 1 egg. So we got 5 good eggs.
1 slug, yeah.
Or yeah, 1 slug. We got 5 good eggs. This was one of the first breeder females that we bought, and just a butter. She's laid for us the last 3 years now.
We call those lessers up here in Iowa. I'm messing with you.
Yeah. So, you know, bells sell well. And so we paired her with a JHM hobby this year. So we got 6 good eggs from her. And then there's our pos het pied. We paired her to a pied het hypo this year.
Yep.
So we'll see what we get out of that. We'll see if we can prove out the pied in her. If not, you know, everything will be 100% het pied, pos het hypo. Shed testing is out there.
Hot pocket.
So that was the 3 clutches we came home to last night.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to come home to clutches. I definitely had that evening as well. Last night came home and found 2. And so, but I only expected 1. And so I found the 1 and put it away. And then every night before I go to bed, for whatever reason, like, I don't know if it's my anxiety or whatever, but I pretty well go through all the animals before I go to bed. And so I pulled open, I tag anything that's going to lay with like a little yellow tag. And so I start with those first, and I popped one open, and sure enough, the clutch was in there. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't even think till it could have been in there the whole day. It could have been in there for 2 days. Like it could have been there from the night, I guess, before, because I would have checked it the day before, but I didn't check it that morning. I only checked the one I knew was going to go, and she had this kind of same thing. She had like 1 egg coming about halfway out of her vent, and so came home to that clutch. But then, like I said, yeah, I found a random one as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now you did not. Did you mention Daytona?
I didn't. I've gone to Daytona a couple times. I bought a table for Daytona once and didn't show up to vend.
Shame.
I'm gonna try to be. I might just say no comment. I'm not a big fan of Daytona.
Okay. We've not been to Daytona.
We have not.
But we did want to go check it out one year.
Checking it out and hanging out there, I think, is a pretty good time. There's a couple restaurants in Daytona that I have to hit. So, you know, sometimes my travel is based on what food I get to eat. I enjoy being at the show and hanging out with people, but the show and the promoter, I mean, I have very few people in this industry that I have, you know, I guess some beef with, at least that I know of. And he's probably one of, you know, 2 or 3. And so I just not a fan. Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't vend that show.
Okay. Yeah. We want to go to the beach.
We do want to go to the beach.
Yeah. I see Lisa and I, we like the other side. We go to Treasure Island area. Like, we like the water and the beach better. But
yeah.
If you do go to Daytona, I will give you a list of some good places to eat. So,
okay.
TJ, I mean no, you know, bad stuff. You know, Daytona is a good time. The show is a good time, but I'm gonna leave it at that.
you got beef with Holly.
You got beef with Holly.
I have me and Wayne. I think it's Wayne. I don't know. I can't remember his name, but not a fan.
Okay. Well, that's a mute subject now.
Yeah, I'm very rarely would I throw out my own dirty laundry, but yeah, I'm not a fan of that guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, and we do. I mean, we want to hit all the major NARBC, so we are missing Daytona, and we're in Pomona. That's NARBC, right? That's kind of
Pomona's actually Pomona's put on by Ramey, so it's a reptile super show, so not affiliated with NARBC. NARBC used to have a show in California, but they have not for the past several years.
Okay. But they are, that show kind of starts off the season.
The Reptile Super Show is you know, when people ask me like my favorite show, it's between that and Arlington. I like the Reptile Super Show at Pomona. So Ramey puts the show on at Pomona and at Anaheim.
Okay.
Anaheim is, you know, whether you're vending or not. Like I've done both. I've vended, I've attended. Vending Anaheim is fine. It's just not as well as Pomona. Pomona's easier to navigate. It's easier for the attendees to navigate. Anaheim can be a bit of a struggle because you're right next to Disney and things like that. But if you were going to go to one of them, I would tell you to go to the Pomona show.
Okay. And I know Eric from Drop Town Reptiles is in here, and I completely missed him. Did you catch him earlier?
I think I did.
Okay. I just saw his comment pop up.
Yeah.
But I agree with Troy. I love Arlington. I mean, we love Tinley and all that, but Arlington to us is probably one of our favorite shows.
Yeah. We love the atmosphere. It's a complete different atmosphere.
Yeah, Arlington is, you know, and that's another show. Like, I love being there, but when I leave, like you're a bit saddened because there's not enough time.
Yep.
And you know, every year, you know, I keep saying like, well, maybe we'll come in earlier, we'll stay a day later, and it's a little tougher being that me and JD and Joe and Sheena travel together. But yeah, to be honest with all the shows, I really wish that all of us could come in a day earlier or stay a day later and just no show bullshit, just lunch and dinner and hang out by a pool or whatever. Like,
right.
You know, if it's 100 of us or whatever, I absolutely hate. I just hate that we don't have the time, that we don't get the time. But at Arlington, I feel like we get more than, you know, Tinley and things like that. So that's one of the big parts for why I like Arlington is it's not jam-packed for one. It seems like it's an extremely busy show, but it flows well. And like you can get people, you know, in your booth or outside your booth and have, you know, be able to talk. And, you know, as far as the hotel, like, again, it's right there. If you stay at the hotel, we stay about a mile down the road, but, you know, we come and hang out at the hotel. If people were going to ask me Arlington or Tinley, it's always tough because I think the experience at Arlington is definitely different. If you want to just see an absolutely massive show that you can barely walk around, then yeah, go to Tinley. It's something to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's something to see. Like, it's really neat to see it. But if you want to lay back, chill event and have a good time, man, come to Arlington. So
it's more relaxing. It's a slower paced. I don't know. It's just
like Eric says, for us, it's family reunion.
Yep.
It's where we go to. But now that we're all kind of getting together.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting together outside of shows now.
Yeah, that's nice. Yep. Yeah. So same with us. Like, JSA is 4 hours north of me. John, my son, works for DEG, and so my son goes to college where JD is, and so we, you know, get over there to see Michael. Michael works for JD. We actually supply JD with rats. So, you know, we get to see each other a lot outside of a show, and you know, it's neat when, you know, we can all go somewhere too. Like, you know, we'll get to our group together and, you know, go down to Justin's or something for a weekend, or we're talking about trying to get just a weekend of like inviting as many people as possible and just making a weekend somewhere in Colorado or wherever. And I think more of that needs to happen. The community side of this is the most important part, you know, in my mind. And this community obviously has its fair share of drama. And it's unfortunate, you know, and I don't necessarily think those things can be squashed, but I think you keep from it, the more community you have, the more you keep some of that out. So
for us, like, just 3 weekends ago, we got to go stay with Holly for the weekend. 2 weekends ago, we got to be with Kyle and Ashley from TER. Down at Godfather's. Next month, we're getting to be with Eric and Courtney from Drop Time out at Jeremy's. So it's like it's the whole thing.
But that's kind of the way why we started it. That's why we brought the community into our crawfish boil. We started the crawfish boil for her birthday. It was her birthday party.
All right.
But then we started bringing our outside family in to to bring everybody together where we're not at a show. We go Friday, Saturday. Friday, if you come in from out of town, we feed you Friday night.
We'll if you show up at my house at 5 a.m., we'll start with breakfast. We'll go
Deal.
all day.
Saturday we do the crawfish. Sunday, we do a breakfast and a lunch. A lot of people, leave out Sunday afternoon, but we'll feed you before you go.
Yeah.
And if you're still around Sunday evening, we'll sit out by the fire pit and kind of just relax and it's a very fun, relaxing weekend.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, we definitely need that. I typically every year, at least JD and I, and then both JSA, so John and Joe and their wives, Sheena and Michelle, and then obviously my wife, Lisa, John's wife is Tiffany, we'll meet somewhere. So like we went to Cedar Rapids where John lives and just spent the weekend. We went up and did a weekend with some friends of Joe and John's from JSA. They put us up in a really beautiful cabin and they fed us all weekend. And
oh, nice.
And so, yeah, we try to, every year at least, besides the show, just do something together. And I think, we'd like to expand that a little bit and try to, pull more people in. And it's tough. Everybody's schedules. The thing I hate most about the shows is everybody invites everybody to dinner. So you're turning down 9 dinners to go to one. And the whole time I'm at that dinner, I'm thinking about these, 9 other groups of people or something, and then I feel bad, right? And so
right.
I keep saying I would like to put together
and you have the ones where it hurts their feelings.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
We need to understand that everybody is together at this time. And like you said, there's 10, 15, 20 dinners going on. You can only go to one of them.
Right.
Yeah, it's like coming in on Friday while you're setting up. It's like Texas crew, like, hey, what are you doing for dinner? And our little crew, what are you doing for dinner? And so you hear dinner 10 times, and I just I'm like we have dinner plans, and I feel like an asshole because you're like, sorry, can't go to yours, I've already made plans without you, and that's never the intention. And you try to call some of these places like, can I get 40 people in?
Right.
And they're like, no, you can't. You can bring 10. And if Joe and those guys were on right now, they would tell you, like, I'm the king of, if Dag makes reservations for 10 people, by the time the reservation's coming around, I'm asking him for 14 or 16 because I'm always trying to bring more people. And so they kind of make fun of me anymore about it. And it's tough. I love the people. I love getting to see everybody. And I just want to hang out and have a good time and share some laughs and some good food. And yeah.
So last year at Arlington, we missed the auction.
We did miss the auction.
We ended up going to dinner, but we had 20 or 30 people there,
we
had to sit at the bar probably for almost 2 hours before they made room for us.
Yeah, the auction is tough because you want to support it, right? Like at the same time, like all of us are traveling 12 and 15 and whatever hours, and so you want all this time with your friends, and so. What we've been doing lately is, we go to the auction for about an hour, and that way we're splitting up our time somewhat. Instead of making a reservation at 6 or 7, we'll make a reservation at like 8, 8:39, so that we can hit the auction for an hour or hour and a half, and just have a later dinner. And that way, at least you get to try to do a little bit of both. And it's definitely nice. We all push out US ARC, and then it seems like for a while. We would skip an auction or something and you just feel guilty. Like you feel like, you're like, oh, I told everybody to sign up for US ARC. But then when their auction came, I was like, screw you, I'm going to get dinner. And I talked to Phil about this a lot, like Phil knows. And so certainly US ARC and Phil himself, like they hold no grudge about, us going. They all know we're supporting it one way or another financially or through a donation or, through sharing it, even things like this and talking about it. So, but at the same time, you feel bad. So, we've been trying to cut our time a little 50-50, hit the auction, and then, grab a late dinner.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. I saw Paul stopped in.
Yep.
I think he's stuck in Holly.
I think he is.
Yeah. And I see Alex jumped in.
Yep.
And
Holly seems like somebody I wouldn't screw with. Like she could
you know what, Holly Patsy, we call her Patsy Klein. She looks almost she could be Patsy Cline's identical twin.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I can see that now that you say that. Yeah.
She's my Patsy Cline.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
She's like back there going, no.
Yeah. Now the next time I'm at a show, I'm going to call her Patsy just for something. Yeah. And I'm be like,
Patsy
I'm sorry, Holly. Yeah.
Yeah, heart of gold. I mean, that lady has a heart of gold, and her husband Bobby, same way, heart of gold.
Yeah,
and just wonderful people, and we're so happy that we've had the opportunity to meet them and became friends and family with them.
Yeah.
And
Yep. I'm gonna try to get them to come up here one of these weekends, but since we're gonna be out of town this weekend, it would not be a good one to have them.
No. But
yeah, I was looking for you guys at the Des Moines show, and so I didn't realize you guys were vending your own. I was keeping an eye out, hoping maybe I'd bump into you guys yesterday.
That would have been fun because we had so much fun when we went up there the last time.
Oh my God, that was so fun!
I almost had that rainbow boa. I tell that story all the time. I had that rainbow boa in my hand.
I'm just gonna get you one. Next time you come to the booth, I'm just gonna hand you a bag. We're gonna get you one.
I looked at Luke, and Luke looked at me, and I was like, "Did he say no?"
Yeah, rainbow boas have a pied version now, I believe. I think I saw the other day on Wharf Market. So,
oh wow,
could get me in trouble.
And now he's like looking at me, and he's like, "Man, you should have got that rainbow boa." And I'm like,
we're gonna get you one.
Hear me, I'm scrambling for rack space right now.
Right.
And we bring one more thing in, and I'm like, oh my God, where are we to put this thing?
But what do? We go down to Holly's place, and he comes home with a Burmese.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I had Burmese pythons 20-some years ago. We had that and retics. We bred Burmese at the time, we had a couple clutches, and that was an experience. But man, I can't do big snakes. Well, I mean, they're illegal in Iowa anyways, but obviously there's probably people that have them. I just can't do big snakes anymore. That's too much.
I love them.
Yeah, Thomas from Low Life is in. Yeah. Hey, have you met Thomas? There's the berm right there.
There she is.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I tell you what, Thomas, so our first show
with Schaumburg
that we ever went to was Schaumburg three years ago.
3 years ago?
And that was before Tinley started back up.
Okay.
And we tell you what, Kurtwood, we were on a live with Kurtwood, and he said, what are you guys doing next weekend? Or something like that.
Or this weekend. He said, what are you guys doing this weekend? And we were like, well, I don't know, nothing, I guess.
We were actually going to go to Omaha and go to the zoo that weekend.
Go
ahead.
He said, well, they're having a NARBC reptile show up here in Schaumburg. He said, why don't y'all come up? So we did. And from then on, we were hooked.
Yeah. And we met.
That was Thomas a good show.
Yeah. And we met Thomas up there, and talk about, I say heart of gold with a lot of people. Thomas, oh my God, he is the nicest guy.
We adopted Thomas. We just love him to death.
Yeah.
Nice. It's about the people. Like I've said it 100 times in every podcast I've ever been on, but I'm a firm believer that God's put the right people in my life at the right time. And I think there's a lot to be said about who I've met in this industry and when I met them and how I met them. And that comes true for me. And so, yeah, it's about the people.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I was scared shitless to talk to you the first few times I saw you.
I don't know why anybody would think that. I'm like a big dumb animal.
I mean, your reputation in the industry, and when I say reputation, not a bad, I mean this big time breeder.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God, I can't fucking talk to him. I
hope nobody ever feels that way. I'm also on the low scale of big breeders. But thank you for trying to make me feel good, though.
Well, and if people do feel that way about talking to you, get it out of your mind right now. Troy is very approachable. Troy is a very friendly guy, down to earth, funny guy.
My wife, on the other hand, is a complete asshole. So if you do come to the booth and my wife makes you feel like, don't talk to her. She doesn't even like people. We're totally polar opposites. I mean, she's not here to defend herself, but she wouldn't, because she'd be like, "This is true." She likes people, but Lisa's different. We're kind of polar opposites.
And we're nobody, so she's not gonna watch your show, so you're safe.
Oh, I love it. I don't think she's watched a single show I've ever been on. Mm-hmm. I can tell you right now, she's at home. She's on the couch with our 2 dogs, our 2 French bulldogs, and she's watching Manifest.
You know what she's doing?
Dumbass show.
Hot Pocket said, what did he say? Low scale my ass.
Well, I feel that way. I certainly appreciate when people put me, in a group of people or look at me as that. It's very humbling. I have a hard time, I guess, feeling that way about myself, but I do appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very humble. But us looking from the outside in, you are a major breeder. You are people to strive to be, to look up to.
Man, well, I appreciate that. That's very kind.
So, and I want a fucking jacket to go with my hat.
We can make that happen. Yep. I keep saying that I'm gonna have, and I've talked to the guy about this, about making jackets, and I want to make a jacket that's just for sale, right? That's just like a Best Dressed Balls jacket. But then I also want like a jacket that's like the $5,000 club or like the $10,000 club.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I think it'd be really neat. So I'm trying to figure it out, so yeah, but I found like this sounds really bad. I'm all about, buy from America, but unfortunately nobody in America sells jackets as cheap as China. So, I think I found a jacket in China I can buy it like at a wholesale and then, do my thing with. So.
Yep. And Bailey, Mr. Troy and his wife are super nice. They let Bailey go behind their table and play and pet with their puppy. We fell in love with Bailey. We met her this last Arlington for the first time.
I want to say, I was trying to think if I met
Bailey, but her parents.
Yes, we met them. I think at Arlington as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, it was at Arlington. Yep.
I feel like I drugged them everywhere.
Oh, funny.
I just was here. Come with me.
Yeah, their kiddo super cute, right? Like I know she'd come to the table and be like, "Can I go pet the dog?" And I'm like, "Yep." I think it's funny when they, at some point I've told them yes 10 times. They keep asking. I think it's super funny because it's polite, right? Like I'm just expecting them to just at some point walk behind the table. Yeah. Nope. I think she came to the table every time. Can I come back there? And yeah.
Did we say hi to Gerald?
I did say hi to Gerald. I saw him pop in. Yeah. I tell you what, Gerald, it doesn't matter if I post a fucking pic of my feet on YouTube. He comments on it. That dude is amazing. I mean,
that's great.
Everything I post or we post, he's always showing support.
What you doing on your OnlyFans, dude?
Ask him why he's on my OnlyFans.
I love it. When Troy have your baby, he won't give it back.
Talking about a baby.
Yeah, in California. So I have no problem asking random people if I can hold their baby, which is anymore is probably not really a good thing to do. But I keep doing it. And so at California, these people kind of, set up like kitty corner from our table. And I said, maybe it was Vegas. I don't remember. It was one or the other. And I said something like, "Hey, if you guys need me to hold your baby, I'm kind of a baby guy, just trying to be funny about it." And the lady was, literally was like, absolutely not. And was mad. And so over the weekend, we kind of, picked on or, said stuff, or they picked on me, or I would be loud about this lady being kind of a dickhead about it. And so that's where that story comes from. Me trying to steal people's babies.
Going back, talking about Bailey, Angie said, we were dragging her around everywhere and that.
That's because I love her. I think she's just adorable.
We
adopt everybody?
No, we have a great community. We have a tight-knit community. We've been to the major shows, the Arlingtons and the Tinleys. We've been to them several times. We know a lot of the vendors there. Do we talk to them daily? No, but we could show up to these shows and go up and just talk to them and carry on a friendly conversation. They know who we are. And so we go to some of these shows, and we'll say Bailey that shows up, who's never been to one of these big shows, and is in awe with Troy. And we're like, come on, we're going to go introduce you to Troy. We know Troy. And that we do. We drag people around to come on. We're going to go introduce you to this
keep
person.
Bringing people over. I like people, so keep bringing them over.
We'll take you over there. You've never met them, but we'll take you over there.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. I can say that I've had that moment a couple times. A guy was at my table, and oh geez, I'm gonna forget his name right now. Gavin from across seas. Yep. So it's like a couple booths down. He had just came by, and we're chatting, and this guy was like, "You know him?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, like we talk, we conversate from time to time." And he's like the one guy I want to meet. And I just was like, okay. And like I just kind of pulled him, and I came by, and like Gavin was talking. I was like, "Hey man, shut up! Like this guy wants to meet you." And the dude was just like, didn't know what to do, and just, kind of funny, like when that happens, or obviously, taking people by Justin's or something, or even Chase, man, like, there's people that are like, oh, I want to meet Chase. And so it's always funny to me. And because at the end of the day, we're all just people, right? Like none of us are any better than the next. And, but people put people on pedestals. I do too. There's people that, I would love to meet in life. And so it is humbling, and it's really neat to be able to, take people and let them, have that moment. So, yeah.
And Chase and Summer, they are the most outgoing.
I love Summer.
And I'm glad they brought, oh God, I'm going to get the name wrong. Jace from Gen Z in, because again, he is very outgoing. He's
you're going to talk about two people with like this, him and his brother, Josh and Jace are.
Yes.
We love Josh.
Yeah. I can't even put the right words to them because they're just unbelievably kind.
Right. And you know what? And it's hard to pass up that opportunity that he had to go with Justin.
Yeah.
But they were making a name for themselves in the ball python breeding.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's certainly I think it took a lot of people by surprise, and so yeah, good people.
Yep. They are both of them very good, very good people.
Now
they live. How far do they live from you?
They're in Cedar Rapids as well, so same place as Dag and where our kid is at. So it's about 2.5 hours for me to get to them.
Okay. So is Josh still in Iowa, or has he moved down to Georgia?
He's still in Iowa. Yeah.
Okay. Because we thought maybe both of them were to head on down.
I think when I've talked to them last, they have another brother too that's I think very music inclined, and so is Josh. And so I think they've been looking at that Nashville, kind of Tennessee, wherever area, and so I think they will leave Iowa. I don't know if they'll all end up down in that, but that's kind of what they've talked about before.
Okay,
so.
Good. It was. I was happy for him. I was proud of him, almost like a dad. I know proud
we got to talk to Jace for quite a while.
Yeah,
and it was
but at the same time, I was sad. I was sad that they were.
Yeah. I certainly hope that they come back around, and we'll see. I certainly hope so.
They were doing some fire things. They were doing some good things. So
Well, we've taken an hour and almost 25 minutes of your life that you'll never get back.
That's all right. I would just be sitting at home, talking shit with Antoine and Jacob and these guys or something. So yeah.
If you have a quick second, are you open to some questions from the chat? If anybody has questions.
I am an open book, and will answer anything, and I mean that. So be careful what you ask, because I will answer.
So you have a come and go next to your house, right?
6 blocks.
Yeah, I know 6 blocks because you came and seen me there.
Your come and go shirt is in the dryer.
Yeah, but the good come and go. Yeah, Iowa has all kinds of funny gas station names.
So she did. She bought me a T-shirt that says "Come and Go" on it, but it's green.
Yeah,
and,
all right.
And if I wear it next to this green screen, it blurs it all out.
Yep.
Yeah. So
funny how I did that.
Yeah, but I'm from Cummings, Iowa. I work behind Come and Go, Yeah. My dad's in prison. Well, I think he's my dad. My mom said he was my dad. I don't know.
All right. I have a situation somewhat like that. Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Holly, you can definitely have a shirt. I will definitely get you a shirt.
Yeah. Now Holly she'll be in Tinley with us.
She will be in Tinley with us.
All right.
And of course she'll be in Arlington also.
Yes.
So Holly is in Oklahoma, far east, south.
Don't be doxing her.
No. She likes where she's at. Right, babe? Yes, she's waving she's nodding her head.
She's
yes.
nodding.
I see you, Bobby. I love you, boy.
He's like, oh my God, I wish I had that moonshine Angie has.
Anybody else have a question? Juicy G needs a shed test. You don't want to test this thing. You have no idea what's to come up positive on this thing. Talking about shed test real quick. Have you sent off any sheds?
I have, and I just sent off like $800 or so of them, and I thought maybe I would have got results last Friday or this Friday, and I haven't yet. So I'm really hoping that's any minute now. But yeah, shed testing is whether you love or hate it, it's here and it's a tool, and I think anytime a tool presents itself, this is going to turn into like one of these guys going to screen capture me talking about tools.
Oh my gosh!
You could use it, right? Like you should use it to your benefit. And so it doesn't matter whether you're a fan of it or not. I don't have a real take on it, how I feel about it. I'm going to use it though, right? Like it's something that can help speed things along. I have a situation where I had bought some proven girls, and I took a proven male to it, and I got 0. I took a proven DG het pied to a proven double het. I got no pieds, no DGs. And so whether the animal got switched around somehow or whatnot, or the fact that it's just not what it's supposed to be, so I'll be able to send that shed in and, fingers crossed, it gives me the info I need to either go back to that breeder or just know what I need to know. And so, shed testing and then same thing, you can take so many gambles, right? So you can make pos hets and, test it out, not have to wait. I mean, to me, it's really I think it's probably a really good tool. So that's my take.
Yep. Jacob said, why damn, he say why? Apparently why you haven't received your testing yet.
No, I think they're talking about Gavin from Balls to You getting out.
What? Do what?
You missed the whole conversation.
So, wait, is Gavin getting out of the game?
I haven't heard that.
Okay, come on, chat. Is Gavin getting out of the game? Yeah, he said it on his fight. What? They're passing a lot of strict laws over there. I mean, it would be hard. Apparently, they can't keep them in rack systems now. I think that's what I heard. They have to feed frozen thawed, right? Mm-hmm. They have to feed frozen thawed. I knew
there was something like that. I know they have like some display rules and stuff too at shows and stuff that just and I get it's for the benefit of the animal. Some of it's probably gone a little, goes a little too far, like anything. Obviously, we could all talk about Florida forever and the overreach and things like that. So yeah, I'm sure I've heard some things across seas too, how hard it is to do some things, but
right.
Yeah.
And that makes things tough for us too. Like as much as if people think like, oh, not a big deal that guys like Gavin may or may not be getting out or that it affects them. It affects us because those guys buy just as much over here as, we buy from them. And
right.
When you lose, if you have a whole country of, things like, this is just too tough.
Yeah.
You're losing a chunk of an industry. So, while we're over here fighting for, our stuff with USARK, whatever they have going on over there, I would try to support that as well. So,
yeah. So you use your tools.
Jacob. So a funny story about Jacob. He and I have known each other now for a little while. We met going to an In-N-Out together.
Imagine that.
I had at least known of his name, but I didn't meet him until then. And so we've become, good friends. And this, this last time we're driving around together in California, and I was asking him about like the houses, and I'm like, what kind of house do you live in? Meanwhile, for like a year or so, I've made fun of Jacob for living in a trailer. I don't know he lives in a trailer. So he turns to me and says, well, I live in a trailer. And I thought he was like fucking with me, like for all the jokes I've just kind of given him, because he's got this look about him. He looks like a homeless transient. And so I'm like, whatever, trailer trash, blah, blah, blah. And so no offense to anybody that lives in a trailer, by the way. But sure enough, Jacob actually lives in a trailer. So like me and Lisa like look at each other. I had said all this shit for like a year in this group chat about him being a piece of shit trailer trash. And legitimately he is. And so one of those moments where I was like, oh, foot and mouth. But it's Jacob, so I don't really care.
Mm-hmm. So you've shared a hotel room with him or a B&B, or you've stayed at his place or something, right? You've stayed the night with him before.
I have not. He has not invited me to the trailer. And so he is not showing me his metal box on wheels. Okay. But someday I hope to see it. I don't know if me and the California guys, no, I usually just stay at the Sheraton or whatever, and they just do their thing. So okay. I room with Antoine is roomed with us in Arlington, and he turned to my wife. So I like to kid around, as you guys know. And at some point in this group chat, I must have said something about Lisa being a former stripper. She's not. And so Antoine turned to Lisa and said, something to the effect of like, when did you quit stripping? And Lisa, I guess, had a face like, what the fuck are you talking about? And Antoine said something like, oh, I can tell by your face, that, Troy, Troy's, this isn't real or whatever. And Antoine, I guess, just kind of went upstairs, like walked away a bit embarrassed. But, it's a funny moment for us, at least.
Yeah. So do you know Travis from TK?
I believe so.
Okay. So he's based out of here in Kansas City too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he just said, fuck you. He lives in a Porta-John.
I'm sorry, man. I only make fun of Jacob about his shitty trailer situation.
And you do tell people I was a stripper.
I do. Well, I do.
Yeah.
And then you also work the street corner.
Yeah, I say shit about Lisa all the time. Yeah. So it's funny to me that like somebody like actually, just rolled with it.
So I'm going to tell the story real quick. Go
ahead and tell the story.
So one day we were getting new tires for our car, and we're sitting in the waiting room, and it was kind of a big round table, and we're sitting on one side, and there was a guy across from us reading a newspaper. And he had it up all the way over his face. So we joke around all the time. Like,
I mean, we're bad.
So I lean over to Angie. I said, hey, have you packed your bag yet? Have you put your stripper shoes in it? Have you put your glitter in it? Have you packed your stripper bag and all this? Loud enough for him to hear. Well, you see the newspaper drop a little bit, and he just kind of looks over and then brings it back up.
Yeah. That's definitely some shit I would pull on Lisa.
That's what he's doing me. And then all of a sudden, I get called up to the counter at the tire shop, and I had won a can of mace.
Yeah.
That's great.
From the guys at the tire shop.
Yeah. So I don't know if they overheard the conversation, said she needs protection when she leaves at night. We don't.
That's funny.
Yeah, but they gave her a can of mace.
They gave me a little can of pepper spray for my purse.
Oh my God, that's great.
Guys.
Yeah. And trailer. Jacob says his trailer's nice.
It's not.
Yeah. I like trailers because you can hook them up and move them.
Yeah.
You don't like your neighbors, you can move.
You can go.
Yeah.
You can.
We wonder how many dead hookers Jacob's put underneath the trailer, so it makes it a little harder to move.
Jacob, just hook up next to a pig farm, sweetheart.
Yeah. Oh, there's Dirty 30. Oh God, I love Dirty 30. We haven't seen Dirty 30 in a while. He must have been missing Juicy.
He probably was.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
We'll have to tell Jacob we have a couple of Troy's balls.
We do have a couple of Troy's balls.
We have a couple of Troy's balls.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you've not held Troy's balls, I mean, you whip them right there at the shows. I mean,
you can walk up and hold my balls. I'm pretty open.
Yeah,
pretty open about it.
Yeah. Well, I guess if the chat doesn't have any questions, do you have any more questions, honey?
No, I don't. I've had half a glass of moonshine. I'm pretty good.
Yeah. Troy.
Troy.
Troy, do you have any questions for us?
I think Holly's gonna go up and hold his balls.
Yeah, nice. What's the next thing you guys want to? What's the next more for something you want to bring into the collection?
You know what?
I want KRG. I've always wanted KRG.
Yeah, you wanted KRG. You know, there's a lot of people on this. God, what's the het clown? But it's not a het clown. It's
the
Krypton and cryptic stuff.
I'm not into that. I don't want it. I want to work clown.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to mix this Krypton and crypto and
cryptic.
Yeah, I've had that talk recently too with my group, and yeah, it's a bit interesting.
Mm-hmm. God, what? It's not really bringing more stuff in. It's
tweaking what we have,
right, and actually making the double visuals, like the DG clown. I mean, to me, I am so dead set on making a DG clown. We did just pick up 2 lavenders. We picked up a 1.1 lavender hepides.
All right.
We didn't know she was gravid. We brought her home, wondering why she wasn't eating. Came home one day and she was laying on some eggs.
Yeah.
So we have a chance of making some dreamsicles this year.
All right. Nice.
And not even realizing it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Gerald, I don't keep any other snakes, but I have been eyeing African house snakes. I have not pulled the trigger yet. But that would be the next thing I would play with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're just to kind of tweak with our collection and see.
I just heard play with snakes.
He said African house snakes too.
And he said play with.
Yeah.
I did play. Yeah.
Are they thick?
No.
Are you Irish like me?
Yeah. I'm hung like one of those African softwares.
Now we are getting a carpet python from Jeremy at Warforce Morphs in July. He did hatch out. Have they hatched yet? He has a clutch of.
He has a clutch. I get first pick because I'm the favored sister.
Yeah, so we are to go ahead and bring that into the house as a carpet.
Yes.
All right.
Like I said, we got the Burmese. She's got the retic.
I'm getting a rainbow.
Rainbow. She wants a rainbow.
Yep.
I want
to get her one.
I want a green tree python.
You know, I looked at green tree pythons for a lot of years. And Joe from JSA has a ton of really good info if you want to, have a good conversation with somebody. I don't want to say I don't want to put the work in, but there's work to be had with green tree. I wouldn't mind having one still as somewhat of a pet, like a display animal of some sort, just to enjoy myself. But as far as for me to bring anything in a collection standpoint, like this African house snakes or something, I'm definitely thinking about. But
okay,
I've always been a big fan of green trees. They're probably one of my favorites, but I don't have any, and I don't know if I would.
Now, do you still do geckos then?
I don't. We got out of the geckos 100%, like probably 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. I think the only lizard we're to get is what is it? The big ones. Like a.
Hey, Billy.
A what?
No, I'm getting
not a lot lizard. You have one of those. What's the that we're getting from TK?
I'm getting a lychee.
A lychee
from TK.
Oh yeah, lychees are cool. Yeah.
Hey, Billy.
What? Billy's in. Hey,
Billy's
Billy.
in.
I have to.
Hey, Billy. So I got to tell you real quick. Last week, prior to us coming on, I was watching your show, and I got fired up.
Billy, he got fired up watching you.
And we came onto the show, and I started ranting, and Angie told me I can't fucking watch your show prior to our show anymore.
You gotta watch it after our show, Billy, because he gets wound up.
Nice.
I was so discombobulated because I'm sitting over here like, no Billy before the show.
That's funny. Well, I have to apologize to Billy because Billy's asked me a couple times to do his Patreon show, and I absolutely want to do that for him still. And I just haven't. As I was telling you guys earlier, right? Like it just seems so hit and miss, like time wise. Like this worked out. You reached out to me, and it was like a perfect time, and like had this evening open. And so it's just been a bit crazy time management wise. But Billy, I definitely I owe you an apology for not getting back to you yet. So.
Yeah. We absolutely love Billy. We love watching Billy, and I talk to Alex like all the time, and Austin. We love all of them.
And we got to meet Austin and
Jeff. Billy's like a real life.
Gets wound up watching Billy, and it was just so funny.
Billy's like a real life cartoon character. He's got energy, and he's funny, and he's he's good stuff, man. I always enjoy Billy as well.
Yeah.
It's real. It's real stuff. It's real shit. And
he doesn't sugarcoat it, man. He doesn't, he doesn't play a part. I met Billy at a Tinling. Yeah, when I met Billy, I didn't really know who Billy was, and me and Brock were talking about him later. And when I met Billy and I went over to Brock's table, Billy and I were talking about special pies at the time. I don't know if he'll remember this. And I think he had like a shipment or something coming to Canada. And so I went over to Brock and I was like, hey, this guy kind of talked to me. Like, I don't know who he is and blah, blah. And he's like, well, who was he? And I was like, I don't remember his name, but he was like really energetic. And he was like, Billy. And I was like, oh yeah, that's his name. And so, I've always enjoyed that about Billy is he's just fun and, he's a good dude. So, I enjoy, that's one thing, you talk about the Canada guys like Billy and Will, and Austin. I mean, all those guys are just Jaffe, just really good dudes. And certainly enjoy that some of them, make it down to a lot of shows and we get to spend some time with them. And I always kind of joke with Will. I wish that, I wish they could extend the American border just a few more miles, absolutely. Right? We could make them American really easy. They're not that far above it. And so, I wish I could see those guys more often. And I'd like to get up to the Canada show. That's a show I haven't been to. And, just to go experience Canada, maybe get to, see Billy and Will and some of those guys. And so that's one thing I would really like to do is on my list is make it to the Canada show.
And if you start lacking motivation in that, all you gotta do is watch a video of his. And the motivation fucking comes back. And what I like is he shows you a way he does it, but he tells you, you know what, this isn't the only fucking way to do it. There's millions of ways out there. This is the way I do it. You don't like my way, there's other ways. Right.
Yep. Yeah. And I always agree with, when Billy kind of talks like, explaining things like that, I've always said the same thing, right? There's a right way, but there's also my way and your way, right? And we all achieve something at the end of it. If it's, raising snakes or getting to eggs, and we all do it differently, right? And the end process is somewhat the same. We all hatch animals. And so, I definitely enjoy those guys. So, I wish they could be a little further south of our into our border. That way they could be around a little more.
Yeah. Well,
he like when I was doing the 2 shows on Saturday by myself or with Angie, he would always get on to me. He's like, you squirm too much. You're fidgeting. You're doing this and you're doing that. And I go, Billy, always don't talk to me about squirming.
That's great.
Talk to me about squirming.
Yeah.
I would love to see Billy get tied down. He would fucking go nuts.
That's great. Well, I'll jump on him and hold him down. I'm pretty heavy, and you try to get him tied up.
Yeah. So apparently
Billy's like, get the stuff off me, man.
He's like, I've had my own podcast today. but talking about his crew, Alex is trying to get down here for the crawfish boil.
Alex is trying to get down here for the crawfish boil.
Yeah. So we would love to have her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When I was like, I talked to her a lot because when I was like having so much like, you're killing it. You're getting all these clutches. I'm so proud, And she's like, God, I'm running myself ragged. And I'm like, send your good vibes my way, girl. Send your good vibes my way. And like, I think the very next day that first clutch hit, and then we've been like, boom, 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 boom. And we've been messaging back and forth, kind of sharing stories and pics and things like that. And I just love her to pieces. And she's just like, see, everything's good now.
Yeah.
The good vibes are working. So she's
well,
great.
and not to keep your show going, but like, I think if you get into this and you think it's all, sunshine,
Thanks, Billy.
You have to be prepared to handle some severe blows. I think, like, having slug outs, especially when it's something you really want, or like just not being able to sell snakes when you need to, or whatever. Like, there's just a lot that goes on that's not sunshine and rainbows, and I don't think everybody sees it. And I've always tried to be very open about the good and the bad, and so you got to be prepared for. And it's nice to have somebody, right? Like you talk about, talk to Alex. I think it's awesome. Everybody in this industry needs to have that person that you can turn to that will build you back up. And I certainly have, those people in my corner, and I've turned to them a lot. And so I certainly, that's needed.
Yeah, it is needed.
It is needed. Because I know last year, like we said, we lost that whole sunset,
the
Ultramil sunset clutch. And we were like devastated because we ended up with the one that had shark mouth, but then it ate its first meal and then it passed away. And I mean, it was just like, okay, we lost the entire clutch.
Yeah.
And you're like, was it something we did? Was it some way that we incubated? Well, it couldn't have been because we didn't lose the other clutches, but then was it the mom? Was it the dad? Do we try the pairing again? What do we do?
Right.
So it's all part of the whole process. So we understand that there's going to be good days, and we understand there's going to be bad days, and you just pick your feet up and keep going.
Yep, absolutely. I have a hard time sometimes remembering to go forward, and so I luckily have the right people in my life to steer me back in the right direction. So
Yeah.
All right,
Absolutely.
where are we at? We're at an hour.
I have no idea.
Hour and 50 minutes.
Is that
I can get out of your guys' way and go home and have a late dinner or something.
Yes, you have a family to go home to, and we love you, and we thank you for coming on.
Oh my gosh!
No, absolutely love you guys. I had a great time with you guys, in Des Moines, and I certainly hope we get to hang out somewhere again soon. And
absolutely,
yes, absolutely. Always enjoy seeing you guys.
Yeah.
You too, Troy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this for us. And again, you have no idea how much we appreciated it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still
a little fucking salty you didn't show up last April though, but I'll get over it. Don't worry.
I'm sorry. I was hanging out with a bunch of college cheerleaders in Daytona.
I mean, there are priorities.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So again, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, the chat. Yeah, the chat was popping tonight.
The chat was amazing.
Yeah, we always love you guys' support. Anything we do, you guys are always you always supporting us. Holly, thank you. Bobby, thank you. Backstage, running this show for us. I used to sit over here and try to run the chat, and it's tough. It's a tough job keeping everything current. And
you think my job is easy, sitting here and looking cute?
I think I've done a pretty fucking good job at it.
I love it.
Oh my God, you're adorable.
That's good.
Again, we want to thank Holly for being a sponsor for this show. Again, if you need an intro, outro, thumbnails, this girl's got it for you.
She's got it. She's the best.
Yeah. Reach out to her. I think she has a Cash App now. I think she's got a little Scan Me Cash App.
She does. Don't take her time away from me, please.
So, but we'll be right here doing what we love and loving what you do. And you guys keep chasing your dream. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.